Good morning, fellow e-bikers. It's Freight Dog Danny back once again for edition number 2, episode number 2 of E-Bike Adventures with Freight Dog Danny. For those of you that have not seen my first video, let me introduce myself. I'm a retired Air Force pilot and officer and a retired airline pilot. For my entire career, I've been hauling freight all over the world. Hence the name Freight Dog Danny. Today we are going to continue our exploring the covered bridges of Preble County. We're going to hit 2 today. And with recent things in the news about e-bike batteries and fires, we're going to talk a little bit about that as well, and how you can keep yourself safe, and a few things you probably didn't know about the history of lithium-ion batteries. So first of all, we are starting out our adventure today with from the TA Travel Center, which is only about 2.5 miles from my home, and we're taking the back roads to the Geeting covered bridge here in Preble County, Ohio. And then we're going to continue along to the Dixon branch covered bridge located in the Lewisburg Community Park in Lewisburg, Ohio. We are in southwest Ohio, about 20 miles west of Dayton, about 12 miles from the Indiana state line in Richmond, Indiana. And Putnam County is where I used to live. Preble County, Ohio is blessed with 8 covered bridges, 6 of which are still in daily use, taking road traffic every day. The other 2, one of which was destroyed in or damaged in a storm, and the other one was damaged by vandalism and fire, and the people of Preble County decided to relocate those bridges to public parks. And we have one that is down for maintenance. We had some knucklehead try to drive an oversized truck, and he damaged the structure significantly. I visited it the other day, and it's not looking very good. I'm sure they're going to get around to it, but they're just waiting for the funds and the priority to repair it. It's in a real rural area, so it doesn't get a whole lot of traffic, and people can get around it, I guess. But hopefully they'll get it done soon, because it's just the top superstructure. The bridge itself, I'm sure, is okay, but all that's going to have to be inspected and approved by DOT and all that stuff. As far as the e-bike fires that are happening all over the place, most of them stem from errors in charging the batteries, using non-OEM or manufacturer's batteries that have been remanufactured and sold as new. So if you buy a cheap e-bike, you're setting yourself up to get a bad battery. Also, if you should drop the battery, you're setting yourself up for trouble, because you've damaged the battery, and that electrolyte that provides the charge, you get damaged and can start leaking and set yourself up for a fire, or worse yet, an explosion. Hopefully not while you're on it. The big thing is stick to the manufactured batteries that's been approved by Underwriters Laboratories, or the international equivalent is SGS, which is a company in Switzerland. And they're actually bigger than Underwriters Laboratories, I understand. They take care of the certification of most products that are used elsewhere in the world rather than the United States, where Underwriters Laboratories does their thing. So, number one, don't buy an e-bike online, is in my personal opinion. You buy it online, you're buying it sight unseen, you have no idea what kind of battery is on that thing. Buy from a reputable dealer, find a local bike shop that sells e-bikes, and you can test ride them, and we'll get into some of that stuff later. But you're definitely going to want to get a hands-on look at that bike. But if you know what you want, just buy from a reputable manufacturer online. You know, if you're a do-it-yourselfer and you can do the limited assembly, you know, that's okay. But I kind of like the idea of having a trained bike professional assemble the bike and put it through all the paces to make sure that everything is torqued down to specifications and nothing's damaged in shipping. And if it is, let them deal with it, not you. As a military pilot and airline pilot, I'm well aware of the hazards of lithium-ion batteries. There have been several fatal accidents that have actually made airplanes crash and killed the entire crew because of it. Now, because of the instability of lithium-ion batteries, the passenger airlines have prohibited lithium-ion batteries from being carried in the cargo compartment. So you can't put them in your checked baggage. So if you got a laptop, computer, cell phones, iPads, things of that nature, they all have to be in your carry-on baggage. Whereas if something's in the cargo compartment and a fire happens in flight, it's going to burn. But if it's in the passenger compartment and somebody sees smoke, then that fire can be dealt with. As you can see, we're on country roads. There's not a whole lot of traffic, but I'm still watching my mirror to make sure that somebody doesn't sneak up on me. Just beautiful farmers' fields. We've got soybeans on the right, and coming up on the right is corn. Now, today I think is July 7th or 8th, and the old farmers used to say knee-high by the 4th of July, and as you can see, we're better than 4 feet, so most of this corn is doing real well. We've had a lot of rain this year, and I'm sure the farmers are loving it. And off in the distance, I can see the Geeting covered bridge. We'll stop and pause at the bridge so you can get a good look at it. And we're going to be seeing it again on our return trip from the other direction. After we pass through the bridge, I'm going to put the camera on pause, and I'll program my maps for our next destination so we don't make any wrong turns. But I'll turn the camera back on when we're approaching the town of Lewisburg and getting ready to go to the Dixon Bridge. Okay, here is the Geeting Bridge. Let me see if I can stop at a place where you're going to be able to get a good look at it. This is over a small creek. I'm sure it's a branch of the Twin Creek. I'm not sure what this creek is. The sign doesn't identify it. I don't know any history on this bridge, but it's been here since 1894. The earliest covered bridge in Ohio that we covered in our first video, or I said Ohio, it's Preble County, was built in 1826, I think. So it's the earliest bridge that we have. But that's one of those that's in a park. And we will revisit that. We'll revisit every place we went on the first video, because since it was my first, I really didn't do a good job with it. So we won't make it as long as the first video was, but we'll definitely get to it so that everybody can get a good look at the bridge. So here we go. Just take a look at the structure, the heavy timbers that are used in the construction of these bridges. And one of my daughters asked the other day, I got to stop and reprogram the map here, so this is a good place to pause. But before we do, one of my daughters asked the other day just what was the purpose of the covered bridges. And it just seems to be a waste of resources and effort. But they are beautiful bridges. When the bridges were built, we were at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. And I think that aesthetically, people just liked them. We had an overabundance of both labor and lumber. So it's just what the people felt they wanted to do. Preble County used to have over 20 covered bridges, and like I said, we're down to 8 now. And Ohio has got covered bridges out the wazoo. That movie, Bridges of Madison County, from several years ago with Meryl Streep and Clint Eastwood, was in Madison County, Iowa. And I think that county only has about 5 covered bridges. But if you take a look, take a search online for covered bridges in Ohio, they are just all over the place. And the good thing about the ones we have here in Preble County is that, like I said, 6 out of the 8 bridges that we have are still in use every single day. And I looked in a couple of our neighboring counties, Hamilton County and Montgomery County. They have covered bridges too. However, most of them are either on private property or are restricted. Nobody can go through them. So I think you lose a lot of that. We're going to be visiting the rest of the covered bridges that we have here in Preble County and in the near future. And I hope to get videos out on a regular basis and let this YouTube channel progress and develop. But as time goes on, you know, other counties in Ohio have a lot of bike trails that we don't have here in Preble County. I've got to get out on the country roads, and there's a couple of parks I can go through, but that's about it. And so I'm going to be exploring our Ohio rail trail system, some of which have covered bridges on them or nearby. And so we'll hit some of those that are accessible. So at this point, let me pause the video, and I'll be back with you when we're approaching Lewisburg.